I like it. That's a good deal. It worked out well.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Discrete Math. Plan for today is we are finally, actually, for real this time, going to start talking about relations. All these for class on Monday. Next op stars are Monday, 11 o'clock and after class. And as far as homework goes, we're going to have some presentations on Monday related to relations. You've got a mistakes journal entry due Monday. And also don't forget, take-home exam due Wednesday. So as you may have noticed, I passed back your in-class exams. Overall, I thought you did a really nice job. Thumbs up. Only my other classes could do as well on their midterms. Since everybody's taken it, I'm going to be posting solutions on Canvas over the weekend that you're welcome to come look at. Otherwise, in the meantime, if you have any questions about the exam, I would be happy to talk to you about it. Let's see. One day, a student came into math class and said, "The computer ate my data. I think it's trying to get me in trouble." And a teacher responded, "Hey, don't anthropomorphize the computers. They hate it when you do that."
I don't know what that means.
Anthropomorphize means to treat like a human. Like they're alive. The joke is that, anyways, it's hilarious. Wow. Okay, anybody have any questions or comments before we move on to the new stuff? All right, in that case, plan for today is going to be relations, which I kind of intuitively introduced, gosh, like a week ago. Guess, Olivia, you're not getting 3 packets all for yourself.
I'm confused because you said it too.
Sorry, I can't count, so I wonder where those are.
Thank you.
See, one of those is for Louis. So the idea behind a relation is it's a formal way of saying in math, when are two things going to be related to each other? And the idea is, let's say, as an example, we're going to let A as a set be equal to the set of all Hillsdale students. And we're going to define a subset of the Cartesian product of A with itself. Where if you might remember, if we take the Cartesian product of two sets, we're basically just looking at sets of ordered pairs, where the first element comes from the first set, little a comma little b, where little a is an element in the first set, and little b is an element in the second set. Shouldn't have done that yet. Sorry, I'm going out of order from my notes. Let's look back at this example for a second. Adam, give me a student at Hillsdale College that you are in at least one class with.
Beaches.
Sorry I asked. Okay, so we can define a relation and say, given two elements in A, we say A1 is related to A2 if A1 and A2 share a class. And this will be an example of something that could be a relation. So one example of something that would be a relation would be Adam is related to Peaches. Yes, Peaches is a student. Used to be my advisee. I never could set him straight. Griffin, give me a student at Hillsdale College that you are not in a class with. Eleanor. So we could similarly say Griffin is not related to. Am I spelling that right?
I think that there's another E in there.
Like
Yeah,
that?
perfect.
Groovy. And so the idea behind a relation is given two elements in the set, you could say they're either related under your definition, In this case, Adam is related to Peaches because they satisfy together the condition that they share a class. Whereas Griffin and Eleanor are not related to each other because they have no classes in common. Let's see. Lily, I'm going to give you a student that you are related to, I'm pretty sure, under this relation. Are you in any classes with yourself?
No. Today? I don't know, but.
Yeah, there's.
So you can even talk about potentially elements in your set being related to themselves. Question. Let's see. It's 2 elements in the set of all Hillsdale students. I'm going to change the set so I can make a point. Can anybody think of an element in the set of all people at Hillsdale such that that person is not related to themselves?
Professor?
All the classes work themselves.
Depends on how we define. If share a class as students, let's say. Let's be a little bit more precise in our
I
definition.
guess that's what I was assuming.
And I would say I am not related to myself, or Dr. Gabler, whoever you want Dr. G to be related to, because there does not exist a class in which I am a student, and also that I am a student. So potentially, depending on how you define your relation, you could have elements be related to themselves, like with Lily, because I know she's in at least one class with herself, discrete. However, I am not a student in any classes, so I am not related to myself under this relation. And as far as a formal definition of what a relation is, going back to the Cartesian product, we can say that a relation on the set A is a subset of the Cartesian product with A with itself, meaning coordinate pairs where both coordinates are coming from the same set A, where given 2 elements, A1 and A2 in A, we say that if A1 comma A2 is an element in S, sorry, that is a typo, it should say S, not A in the packet. We denote this by saying A1 is related to A2. Or A1 is related to A2 in words. And then this little squiggle symbol, this little tilde, however you want to write it. If you want to put it in tech, Adam, you can put /sim. Is often used to refer to the name of the relation. So, in other words, this is a little bit of a more formal definition of what a relation is. So one way that we could define this relation in terms of the Cartesian product of sets is we could say that S is the set of all pairs of people at Hillsdale where each of the AI is an element in A, and A1, comma A2 are both students in the same class. Let's just say share a class as students. So, Sophie, can you give me a coordinate pair? In other words, an element in this set S, given how we've defined our sets S and A.
Alex, Helen, Mariah.
Alex, Helen, Mariah. I would argue is going to be an element in the set S, corresponding to the fact that these are two students who do share at least one class. Evan's not here, so I'll pick on him. Would that be an element in the set S? Isabel?
No, because Dr. Arn isn't in a class as a student, and they also don't have a class together, I don't think.
I'm guessing they probably don't have a class together, but I don't know. I am pretty sure, though, that there is no class in which they are both students. So we could say this is not the set S. We could have just as equivalently said Alex is related to Helen Mariah under this relation, where the relation is defined by which elements in A cross A do we choose to include, namely coordinate pairs were made up of two people who are in the same class as students. And these are just different notations for really saying the same thing. Dr. Arn is not related to Evan under this relation, meaning the coordinate pair Dr. Arn, comma, Evan is not in the set S, but Alex is related to Helen Mariah in that because they are both, the coordinate pair consisting of Alex, comma, Helen Mariah is an element in the set S. So typically, these are kind of two ways of defining the same thing. This is kind of the set theory way with coordinate pairs is the more formal way of defining a relation. Usually, though, in practice, you just say, hey, one is related to A2 if, and then you give your condition and not worry about Cartesian products and such. All right.
Okay, so like when I see like A cross B, my first instinct is to put like A1 and B1, A2 and B2. Is that not how it works? Can we cross like every single A value with every single B value? Is that the point of this like function?
Sure. So in general, when we talk about taking the Cartesian product of a set with itself, we just mean coordinate pairs where both coordinates are coming from the same set A. In general, you can take Cartesian products of any two sets that you want.
But it's still combining every single possible combination from each set.
Yeah. So this would basically be, this is as a set, any possible combination of the form A1, A2, where A1 and A2 are both elements in A. And you can even have the same element twice in this set, potentially. And so when we say that S is a subset of this, we mean every element in S is going to be in this set because, how did we define S? S is made up of coordinate pairs whose elements are from A, so every element in S is in A, but not necessarily vice versa. Because Dr. Arn, comma, Evan, for instance, would be an example of something that's an element in A cross A, because they're both people at Hillsdale, but not an element in S because they don't share a class as students. Any questions or comments? All right, group time. Let's see, who haven't I picked up yet? Sophie, give me a number 1 through 3.
1.
All right, everybody's in a group by themselves now. This is gonna be. Pick a number 5 through 8.
7.
Okay. Group 1 is the 3 of you. Sophie, Lori, Olivia. Alex, Lily, Jacob is group 2. Isabel, Helen, Mariah, Laura is group 3. Does that just leave Griffin?
Ouch.
I'm still by myself too.
Oh, and Griffin and Adam, you can work together. All right, you all know the drill.
Alright.
Work through this packet, given our basic definitions, and then we will present on Monday.
You want to keep your perfect speak going?
What did that have to do with number 7?
Moves to me, I
Say what?
What did that have to do with number 7?
It had nothing to do with it. I was trying to stall for time while Sophie gave me numbers, and it turned out that was too quick. so I just decided to semi-randomly do it.
Wait, so the numbers had nothing to do with just for time?
Correct.
Fair enough.
Eh.
Oh, I thought he was drawing stuff.
I mean, I think I got one right.
Here for a second at least.
At least
For
one.
ours.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Most questions you kind of look at for like 10 seconds to get an idea of do I have a chance of getting this right or not.
Do we know what ours
In like Twilight or something.
I'm pretty confident you got at least one though.
I will bet my life savings I got at least one question right.
That's pretty bold.
Yeah.
I would not want to bet against you there.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
ordered pair of like real.
Is it like, I will bet my empty piggy bank there.
So the condition is that X needs to be less than Y.
That are elements of this.
Has R been defined?
Like, well, that one.
It's just all around numbers. Oh, let's touch that X less than or equal to Y.
Yeah, fancy looking R is the set of all real numbers.
Do like 1, 2. Do like 1.3, 5.7. Don't work.
Yeah.
They'd just be ones where Y is. Does, oh, but X needs to be less than Y. So I can't
Less than or
write
equal to,
the,
yeah.
Less than or equal, so that means I can't write 5.2, but I can't write 0.
Yeah.
Great.
0.2.
Examples of R are
Oh, how
not.
very creative.
Thank you, Dr. I mean, do you want me to?
Wait, no, where Y is less than. I got confused.
Oh, you don't have to.
Except
Yeah,
losses
like,
in-
X is good, yeah.
I know, I get what you mean.
Hey, if you're not gonna do like negative pi over 17 comma square root of 5 trillion.
What's that really, that's my brain to think about.
It
You
hurt
lost me
my
after-
brain just saying it.
Okay.
You lost me after
So we
negative
are
pi.
to T.
Yeah.
But T is a set. So set T equal to.
thought we just said
So we define an relation S to be.
I have no idea what states are connected by a single
So
interstate.
T times T.
I'm supposed
T is
By a
minus
single
There we
interstate.
go, pi comma e, that's
I have a question, Dr. Erskine.
Yep.
By a single interstate, you mean there exists exactly one interstate between the two cities, or that you think there exists some interstates that only one to?
I understand the concept.
There exists,
Motivation for
it does not necessarily have to be. Basically saying there's a,
At
At
least
least one
one
interstate
that
that
goes
directly connects.
like
Chicago and what, or on I-80?
Iowa City.
So, yeah.
Well, Jackson and
So there we go.
And I lived in Iowa City, I lived like
You
four,
could go
I lived like
Jackson,
3
Detroit
blocks
on
away from
94.
Iowa.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh wait, what about like?
Did you ever live in Coralville?
Two examples.
I never lived in Coralville, but I went to Coralville many times.
You do have one I-5, I think.
I lived on the east side of town.
And Fort Wayne. No, not Hillsville, Detroit.
Where is Fort Wayne? Why does everyone
Oh,
know? I
okay.
don't know.
You wanna know something that's pretty cool?
Is
Minnesota, St.
there an interstate that connects Hillsdale? and
Oh, that's a good
Coralville?
idea.
There's no interstate even in Hillsdale.
You can
What,
take
yeah,
back roads to any interstate.
Yeah, I can do a bunch that
Are they direct, is Hillsdale directly connected to
Alright.
a nearby interstate?
I used to know.
Dr. Gershon, I think you overestimate like how much I understand directions when making this problem.
I recognize that you can get all
One in
the
Alaska.
localities and stuff in here, I don't really care. Because I probably could have done a better job of precisely
Alaska,
defining
AL is
this.
Alabama.
Interpret this how you will.
US,
Orlando.
US.
There you go. I was like, I
All the
should
way
know
from
some.
Joseph to my hometown Fall Creek in western Wisconsin.
Okay.
Really?
Is that an
I
interstate?
think-
Well,
Actually,
US 12, it must be.
It's
It's
in
the
Minneapolis,
west of
St.
it.
Paul.
It's the same number
I don't know
all
if
over
it's
the
a-
states.
Yeah.
Wait, no, but that's like, those are the white.
Ah, we
Yeah, it's like
say
US
have a
66,
relation.
Route 66, same thing. Isn't that the interstate portion? Are we talking about like?
No,
I don't know if
exits.
It's like very technical.
Okay, I'm putting Minneapolis.
But Alabama and Alaska should both be AL.
They
You
should.
can do
I-94 goes all the way up to Montana, and it actually like is the replacement of US Highway.
What is the place in
I
Hawaii?
feel like I'm gonna have to use like examples from my like old.
I memorized the capitals.
Oh, and
That's the last time I
oh.
lived in American Drive.
Yeah, I'm just gonna write,
Ordinarily
No, but-
If you wanna have a fun time spelling something, try the official pitch of Y, which is blah, blah.
I have a 3-syllable limit in my life.
It's disappointing, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm from
Okay.
Michigan.
So that would apply to the last one that we just did because interstates go both ways.
Oh, there we go. I can spell DC.
I like the whole,
thought you might
like, Detroit to Detroit or Indianapolis to Indianapolis.
Okay.
I would
Actually,
imagine.
want to
Yeah, solid, I'm enjoying that.
Oh, wow, okay.
So if.
Relation on set A is reflexive for all X in a X. It's related to itself. Symmetric. Okay.
Following relations.
No, for the example that it's not, that's
Reflexive, symmetric, and symmetric.
Oh, I get it. So basically, if they're symmetric, that
A
implies.
is a set of their numbers, and we say that X is related to
No, if
Y,
they're-
X times Y is greater
No,
than
if
zero.
they're symmetric, it implies that they're different.
Symmetric implies everything works backwards.
Nobody's gonna check your work.
I feel like it's
Okay.
okay to understand the
Yeah.
concept more than the actual
Is-
math
If
of
they
it.
meet the requirements for symmetric, there's just some sets where that implies that they're.
It's,
Okay.
There's a question about
That would
this
be
at the end of the packet.
No, I would
Yeah.
transfer.
is zero related?
Oh, yeah, that's.
Oh, it's great, it's
Multiple transfer. And it is,
any
if it's the same.
The definition is
For
confusing.
instance, given the relation of 3 to 1 on our previous page,
What is the I-94 then?
yeah, any numbers less than or equal to
Oh,
itself.
Marshall and Eau Claire.
It's definitely not symmetric.
If it is.
Yeah, it is anti-symmetric.
Anytime you have.
I'm trying really hard
that
for
are
this
different
interstate.
from each other.
Ray's
The relation
working
does
on
I was gonna say, like, I intended that question would take like 2 minutes, but
Well, we were just really thinking
Y'all are-
about like
y'all
the
are-
routes that we take to get here and stuff.
So I think like for anti-symmetric, you're skimming.
Alright, are we satisfied with our?
any questions about any of these?
I wanna say
No, it's gotta be a city in the USA. Oh, no, think like England.
Okay, so if the product is greater than or equal to 0.
This is true as well, as multiplication, what is it?
So.
Non-associative, commutative, one of those 2 words.
It is reflexive.
Yeah,
Commutative.
because products are, so it doesn't matter what.
Products being commuted would make it symmetric, reflexive.
Oh,
Oh, dear goodness.
It's reflexive. I think it's reflexive because there's no required ordering. It's just by the.
oh, reflexive just means it's
It's not
symmetric, right?
Yeah. Reflexive here, if you take any
Because
number and multiply it by itself, then
X
you
and
get
Y
something
don't-
greater than or equal to 0.
Oh, yeah.
So is it reflexive, so like, is
I guess we can just give a counterexample.
If it.
Actually, yeah, because no number squared is less than 0.
Can it?
So it is.
And that-
Can something be symmetric and?
Is that if.
Check out the last page of the packet.
Well, the square of any real number.
That's literally
is
the last
greater
question in the packet.
Ah,
Something I want you all to think about.
Yes.
So I don't think
Okay.
A lot of words, not feeling.
On which, like on this first part here,
Yeah.
so, it's reflexive if, like, x is related to itself for any x, and any number times itself is gonna give you a positive number,
Or 0.
It's reflexive.
or 0. So it's gonna be greater than or equal to 0, so it's gonna be related to itself.
Which is like our disgrace,
But I literally wrote reflexive.
symmetric.
But the thing is, what if-
Not all, like,
And then what's next one, symmetric?
Because,
would
It
expect
can't be
that
both
these
symmetric and
all-
Yes.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
transitive.
Or
But-
for symmetric, like I would expect symmetric
we
to
have
always be.
X and Y are both positive.
What's
or
the word?
because like, you
It's
can't say
not
for
same
any
direction.
round.
Oh wait,
Same.
well, that-
Things
Down. Well, yeah, actually
Because
down.
what-
is
because
the
what if
same.
for X and Y implies positive,
the
then
word
product
for,
won't be
like-
greater than or equal to zero,
like,
so they're not
in
both
the
done.
multiplication is like the same, like whatever order you
Commutative?
put in.
That's what they're
Commutative.
X.
Is it
That's a, yeah, commutative means like A times B
Yeah, like,
times
yeah,
A.
both.
Associative is like you can play around with parentheses and say like
For
A
this,
times
Oh, but
B
no, look
times
at-
C
if-
is equal to A times B.
Given any X, Y, if X
Yeah.
tilde y, then y tilde x, so it is symmetric.
Explain that.
X times Y. is
Yeah, because if this meets the criteria,
And
then
Y.
Do you have a way,
Yeah.
are you working on trans?
Yeah.
okay, I just have the definition. That works.
Thank you. No, it's additional notation is necessary.
If you claim any of these do not have the properties, you should come up with a counterexample.
Just naturally wanna, like, write
It's like a single example of numbers or cities or whatever that don't get the job done.
But, so is it not anti-symmetric?
I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah.
I forgot what it meant.
Alright, should be attempts.
No, I don't think so. Because if we had 3,
Or not far to
4,
get, but more
well,
than
3 is related to 4, and 4 is related to 3, but 4 is usually not equal to 3 unless it's a really bad day.
Yeah, so if 1 times 2 is greater, no, because 1 times 2 is greater than or equal to 0, and 2 times 1 is greater than or equal to 0, but 1 is equal to 0.
Oh.
Still doing okay?
Yeah, just processing. It's a lot of words.
It is a lot of work. Take heart, this is an example focused package.
Oh.
This is the next spectrum, right?
Wait, what did we say? The very first one.
Wait a minute. So if x times y is greater than or equal to 0, and y times z is greater than or equal to 0, then x times z. So x and y are either both positive or both negative, right?
That's so.
Transitive. And
I'd
they're
say
related.
no, because if you take x
And
equals
y and
1,
z
y equals 0, and z
Are
equals
either
1.
both positive or both negative.
X tilde
Which means that x and z have
There
the
was
same
no
sign.
y in the
Negative 1
example.
times
So
0
x
is 0, I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
sure.
those ones.
And the other y
Well, I guess not
z
really.
is equal to 0 times 1 is greater than 0. But x, tilde z does not hold because 1 times 1 is
Okay,
1.
it's the exact same value. So it's x, y, we just put in x equals to y.
Make sure.
Oh dear. As ethnicity in the USA.
Great, okay, reflexive.
I think every city is connected to itself by a single highway.
Very much to know.
Cities with no highways
I enjoy that.
That's too hard. This is too like
So what'd you
real
say?
world.
This is supposed to be sort of a pure and applied focused class. I
I don't
haven't.
know, I'm an applied math major, it's still
Do
too
you
hard.
flip the sign or do you?
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay, if you say so.
X is a city.
How do we say whether it's reflexive or not? Like, I guess the city isn't connected to itself. Okay, to it, yeah.
Well, if
X,
the
Y,
interstate
Y.
is in a city, then you can go
But
anywhere in a
X,
city.
Y.
Well, I think it's like, is it a city or like, are we gonna call Hillsdale a city?
But is that the same
And
thing?
if there's no X, Y,
Yeah, there's too much jargon. Well, just
But if
assume
it's
that
like-
the definition of a city means that it
Yeah,
has some interstate.
I think
connectivity.
it's supposed to be.
No,
I don't know if it makes sense, like,
Oh,
So
gotcha,
basically,
gotcha.
in a car, but I think it's supposed to
That would change it.
be. It's connected to itself by the.
So I figure still couldn't a city be
I
connected
think
to
it's
itself?
just, it's the,
By interstate?
Yeah.
cause like in this example.
I'd say so. If you got an interstate going through a city, then you could say the city connects to it.
Well, if X is an element,
Okay,
So you can find
but then it's like,
one.
it's
Not
like
every
for all,
city.
it has to be for all X, right? And there are some cities that
I went to
don't
Boston.
have interstates,
Well, actually, more like 3 hours.
so then it wouldn't be
It was terrible.
reflexive.
Where are you from?
That's an interesting.
Little north of Grand Rapids, like 45 minutes.
Yeah, because.
Does Hillsdale connect to itself by interstate?
Okay, true. Okay, so we're gonna go with
It
that.
doesn't make sense for us, so I'm just kinda.
Keep in mind, this is the set of all cities, not just the set
Right.
of cities with interstates in them.
Right?
yeah, I don't think it's.
It's not a-
Public transportation scares me.
Public transportation is scary, but if you start
Should we
doing
just
it,
give a specific example to turn off some?
it makes going to Europe better.
Okay.
Yeah, I never used public transportation on a regular basis till I went to grad
Yeah, I
school.
think transportation is just more for our
Was it scary at first? I found it very scary at first.
University of Iowa.
But that was also a 14
Well, I was like, I mean, I was in like my early 20s by the time I started using it regularly, so
It's probably less scary.
it was less
Okay,
scary when there were creepy people on the bus.
that was the big concern as a 14-year-old.
It was less concerning for a
I was-
20-something-year-old.
I was sitting up with freaky people as well.
It does.
I got followed by this one random person like both days. I was ready to pull my pepper spray. Alright, buddy.
Yeah, I've never carried six, but a lot of my friends do. I'm like, you're probably a lot smarter than I am. Okay, so
Do you have a counter example?
Yes, this is true.
Not if X is positive and Z is
Yeah,
negative,
I mean, if-
Y is
I don't think
negative.
anything can be both symmetric and anti-symmetric.
That's an interesting idea.
Unless it's like a one-way interstate.
So why is it?
Because there are cities that one is related to the other and the other is related to the one
Well,
that
what's
Y
the
are not.
difference? 0 and Z is negative.
Oh, okay.
like,
Because
if we are willing to say, like, the
the
fact that we have a realistic case symmetry
but X
makes me, so I may not understand anti-symmetry,
Well, remember, anti-symmetric means that
but then.
if X is related to Y and Y is related to X, then they must be the same thing.
Oh, so, but they don't have to be the same thing, they could be the same thing.
They could be, but anti-symmetric says that necessarily implies.
For all these relations, in order for it to be reflexive, symmetric, etc., it has to work in all possible cases. If you can find a single counterexample, that automatically means the relation is not. Pick your choice of adjective.
I mean, I guess.
No, because you could have,
Yeah, you could have,
like DC is connected to,
Well, actually, maybe not.
Pittsburgh, no, it's not actually.
Well,
There exist
what
many
if,
cities that connect indirectly by interstate, but not
basically you
directly.
could have like one highway going from X to Y and then one going from Y to Z, but then that doesn't mean
Yeah.
from X to Z, you could
Yeah.
traverse two to
Doesn't
get
make-
there.
Wait, what does that
Or
have to do with the transitive, or does it not?
So it's like if one city is connected to another city by an interstate, and that city is connected to another city by an interstate.
Because it could be different
Do
interstates.
those- Right. So I mean,
Well, doesn't it have to be a single?
So it's not a single.
Well, because they're definitely,
well, I think it's not gonna be transitive because it has to refer any interstate.
right, that's what I'm.
So there might be a single
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
I drew a picture.
Thank you.
One's connected by 80, one by 90.
Single counterexample will invalidate it.
I don't know.
We have a,
Yeah.
I don't think we know enough about
Well,
geography.
I don't
Oh my
know.
goodness, all right, we need to have like a geography class clearly.
Let's have an atlas.
Yeah, that's my next core class idea, the Western Geological Tradition.
Well, there you go.
I don't know where you're.
All right,
Also sometimes I think things and then.
We don't need that at Hillsdale.
Like, actually, no.
Don't we know that all the whole
That's
country
just
is
Those
divided?
moms.
Hey, that's not
It
bad.
is. Honestly, I don't even know
That
that
they
it
have the
states where I
same-
live.
Okay.
I know where Texas is.
Ironically, the state that's probably the worst off in this is Michigan.
Yeah, where'd Michigan go?
Where there's like
It's
three
gone.
interstates, the whole thing.
Now,
All right, let's do this.
Flyers on the western third of the continent that are originating.
Let's just get the
Oh,
words.
man.
Yeah, but we lopped off a big half of that east side of the states, that's no loss, because no one likes them anyway.
Well, I was gonna say Lewis.
Lewis, I guess we wanna get
Iowa
Murray.
City is now.
There we go. I don't know if
I
Iowa,
know
that's
that,
part of
but-
Western.
No Minneapolis, St. Paul, no.
So
I guess
That's
that's
not
not
far.
north.
That's actually
We
the,
get
all, everything that's needed.
Iowa City, so not.
If you want to draw your own country on the board, you can, Adam.
I think for Adam's presentation, he should just have to draw.
Maine is actually in
It is
the North
reflective.
Pole.
Putting a question on your final where you have to rate.
Did you guys put a math joke on your exam?
Okay.
I forgot. Dr. Bristol, did anyone put a math joke on the
I think they
exam?
have.
Yeah, there were several.
Were they funny?
Done better.
Some of them were.
Really?
Anyone who put a joke on the exam did get the bonus point.
Are you serious? I should have done it.
I feel like mine were pretty good.
There were multiple?
I actually had two. Oh yeah, so one.
Nobody got multiple points
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, I was really hoping I could help myself out in the exam, but.
I just went to the exam and wrote 28 math jokes.
You know, I did have a teacher when I was in college who's like, who's my real analysis teacher, is like, I'm looking for some jokes to pass on to my sister, so for each real analysis joke that involves Chuck Norris that you submit, I'll give you a bonus point. And then I literally submitted like 30 of them.
Oh my god.
You
still have them?
Guess
When
it's
do you
not.
get
Guess
bonus
it's not.
points?
Yeah, honestly. Is that like what you get after the final
Micro?
like?
Chuck Norris,
I know he
there,
did.
these are pretty awful
We
ones.
both got seven.
Like,
Your best one.
I don't know.
I was
Like they're probably the same.
The triangle inequality used to be called the
At the
straight
end,
line
I was just
inequality,
like,
or the roundhouse kick.
So we were playing chicken and I'm like, I'm not swerving.
Elements in a convergence.
And he's like, I'm swerving. And then the one
Huddled together
before
for
was
safety
like,
in numbers.
oh, not chicken, but.
Those are pretty good.
Did you guys get this?
I
Well, no.
Yes, we got
That's
the
better
same,
than
all
all
three.
Human beings.
I spent a
July
lot of time,
16th.
more than I should have,
I
trying
can
to come up
No one has.
That's how we both do.
Well, I was.
16. It's his birthday.
Yeah.
And it's my
Okay.
half birthday.
There are no.
I'll take your word for it, I don't care.
Let's go.
And then we got the Empire State Building for lunch in New York. And then.
Pretty sure everyone's the same height as themselves.
Yeah.
I guess unless like, I don't know, I can gain about an inch if I wear my cowboy boots, like.
If
if
I
I
were a teacher.
Take
but
these
then
off.
you wear your cowboy boots, and be right if you wear your cowboy boots.
I'm just gonna
True.
start turning my exam.
Assume this is all at a fixed point in
Like,
time.
don't worry,
Okay,
doctor,
yeah.
I graded this one for you.
Unless I can somehow, in the same moment in time,
Let's compare that.
change.
I missed a little bit on chart 5,
Then
but
that's
it's
a,
okay.
then you have discontinuous
What about
time.
the
and
back
that's
to
fair.
sure, whatever, if I get a time machine and go back, and then there's two of me.
And then we both had 17.1.
I'm so mad by the.
A single point in time means no time machines allowed.
So it's not, it's ready.
Time is frozen, you can't get in your time machine. It's like frozen.
Oh, that is
And
true.
he's probably like 132.
It was something.
So it's not symmetric.
3:30.
Because we decided there are no two people that do exact height, and you're like.
Oh, is there?
Under that assumption, yes.
Symmetric, it's not.
I literally have caffeine, I'm like still struggling.
Wait, is it-
That's a good question. Have you checked out the second question on that page? It's funny, like I've had like 5 people have asked me this, they're like,
It would be
it's a
dreams.
good question, that's the reason why I put it in. And I put it in the packet for you all to think about.
Oh my gosh.
I really want to present on
boss
this one.
told me that like over.
The height one?
And I was like, I've never.
Is there another person who's approximately 5'8" here?
Or like elevator music.
Approximately, exactly.
Just elevator.
Oh, so now height is a
Alex, you're taller than
continuous,
I am. Jacob, you're
continuous
taller than I am.
variable, so it really
Lily, you're
is
kind of like my height.
anisymmetric and non-symmetric.
That's pretty close.
If we're as tall as each other.
Interpret it as you will.
As each other, then we would have to go.
Okay.
Assume Adam is shorter. Or Lily is taller. I was gonna say I was related to like LeBron or something like that, but I figured I need something slightly more realistic. I'm not even close to 6'8".
I was gonna say, LeBron, I don't know about that.
So when I looked down, it's spelled
Yeah.
okay. So it was like pop sick.
Oh, with the CK.
Yes, yeah, it was very, it was.
I don't think it is, but
Why?
both possible to be symmetric and.
The rational numbers used to be a
Yeah,
complete
because
set
to be
until Chuck
anti-symmetric,
Norris got his hand.
symmetry has
Oh,
to
see,
hold.
that's so good.
Oh, this
Why
is
don't you tell us?
translated, but
Oh,
it's
no.
not.
Not necessarily.
Actually, do you remember what I saw today?
I think it is possible.
Well, it was the picture
So
of like
symmetric
Elaine
is-
dressed up as you for
Yes.
Halloween.
She did it again.
I didn't say it was gonna be
Wait,
in
did you
here.
do that like today?
Today.
Oh, I thought it was like
But
last
it's
year.
not.
And last year.
Oh, so she did it again today?
Oh, that's-
Yeah. No, literally, at 10 o'clock last, she
I was
came
gonna
dressed
say.
up as-
Oh, that's beautiful. Then maybe
Yeah,
that's
so-
what I saw. I thought it was from last year. I didn't know she did it again today.
Oh, no, man.
Well,
That's
it is
tremendous.
because
I have the same height as
lot
you,
of
you have the same height
to
as
dress
me,
up as
but we are
someone
not the
else
same height.
because like
that
If it was a situation where the only things, there were only two things in the set,
You
and
had like
they
glasses.
were.
I mean, it takes glasses
No,
and pressure and
wait.
slacks. So
There
yeah.
was only one thing in the set,
This,
and it was related to
the
itself,
definition of symmetric.
it would
has
be
so
symmetric
many
and it would be
separate
anti-symmetric, because it would be equal to
I
itself.
think you can.
So, yeah, so if there's only one thing,
Oh, that means it's.
So, like in.
The answer is yes. Give an example. If not, explain why no example.
Antisymmetric
For
is only
each
reflexive answers.
yeah, but then like how do people know that it's that specifically that you're dressing as? That's the hard
Asymmetric
Yeah.
allows
Because,
for.
right?
oh,
You have to, like,
so
find
anti-symmetric means
I- I-
actually
I-
there's
I-
always
I-
actually X,
someone else.
X
There's
is
only
Y
one element
are
that's
equal.
related to itself. And it can be
Whereas symmetric means X is related to Y and Y is related to
I like don't feel like explaining things.
Without
I
that
understand it's
necessary
brain, but
implication.
I'm writing it down.
So-
Oh, I got it.
There's
So say X is related to Y. I think this is the thing. It's like, what's all the weird like A's
Yeah,
and G's and
because,
U's
like,
and
think
T's
about
in
it,
your
like-
cells? Genomes, what you call that?
Yeah, because like
Oh, the,
two.
oh gosh, the
Yeah, all the
DNA
letters.
bonding.
Yeah. And so then say they're related if they have the same genome. So you could say X is related to Y if they have the same genome. Well, then it must go the other way, and then that would also imply that which is, I'm pretty sure they don't have the same genome as somebody else. But my biology knowledge is limited to the mitochondria and the powerhouse of the cell.
I just think it's probably.
So I
Do you remember
Like, do these types of things.
Like I kind of remember the Golgi apparatus, but I don't remember.
I remember writing a report on that in high school. Golgi bodies.
I'm gonna get a diagram of the cell with thumbtacks and
I
a shoebox
guess
top.
symmetric does
Me too.
Once paper
necessarily not
Our
anti-symmetric.
biology professor once had, like, blew up this entire
Because if X can only
thing
be
in
related
our
to
gym,
X,
like, we all were
it can't be symmetric because therefore X.
See, mine was awesome because I had the
That's fun
thumbtack
too.
sitting at the bottom, so I took it and hit my friend with the thumbtack. Like stuck into him. It was awesome. It was seventh.
I'm the powerhouse. Work harder.
Okay, wait, I still.
Not necessarily, but like,
So,
if it has elements that are somehow equal, oh, they did.
Okay, so
If
we
you're
said
Oh,
there's
that's
only
it.
one element.
So
We're saying that
So how would we
symmetric
write that?
allows for non-reflexive
Like,
answers,
Elements that are
but
equal.
anti-symmetric allows.
Say
for
is set X and then say is X comma X an element in your
This isn't
or any product or not.
No, this one isn't.
because
In X.
Wait,
Same X.
Same
Yes,
person.
you can basically, if you just want one element set, let the accept contain
For
X,
something
Y.
to be
Okay.
symmetric,
And
it
then
always
decide,
has
and then you just need to
It's
decide
not
is
like
X related to X.
Related to Y.
They are the
We're
same
like-
thing if it is reflexive.
Implies that Y.
This means
That's the
one
only
thing,
way that
and
they
all
can.
and the
answers
opposite
implies
is
that
right
X
opposite.
equals
The
Y.
only way they
Boom.
cannot
Yeah.
make it as a
Elements.
commutative is if they are the same. Whereas something that's symmetric is saying that. No, I'm ready to.
This is a set.
Oh,
They don't need to be the same.
Yeah,
It's
so
like-
wait,
I'm just gonna write
We
it.
can just say,
That will be my
Oh, if
explanation,
X
just yes.
comma X then B plus B.
So, oh.
Like this is saying that if they're related, do the same.
Complex
What
thing.
What if the relation
Then it isn't not symmetric, right? Cause there's no Y. It's
If
only
X
and
equals Y, does Y equal X?
Yeah, but X and Y are not the same.
Yeah.
What if X equals Y does Y equal X? Yes?
Just go ahead, Alex
How could it
proposed an example, so, and
Okay, something.
So the relation is that they're equal.
Gary Wolfram.
How could it not?
Dr. Gerstle,
X
are
equals
you
Y.
teaching complex analysis again?
So like the real number one.
good question.
Oh, okay.
If I get,
The real number one.
answer is
is that
probably
equality
if
would just
I can get enough student interest.
Uses the same like.
Would you be interested?
All the time.
I don't know, Dr. Vols, if I get accepted to a graduate school, I feel like it might be useful to take complex.
I guess if you.
It would be a good
have
one to have.
X equals or
Because I haven't
Y,
taken it yet, but I don't know what I'll be doing in terms of like when I have to ship out.
Like three relations.
And it's not something, I don't know if I'll like pay money if we say that necessarily, though I see like a benefit
That's the
to
only
taking
way.
it, I just don't
You know
know.
what I'm saying?
I am pretty sure that I did not.
Sure, that makes sense, yeah. I plan on,
Well, I'm saying.
Madeline was actually asking me this a few days ago if I can. I think what I'll do is like what I did last spring, I'll send out an email in the spring and just kind of see if there's enough interest, and if I think I can get like 4 or 5
But they
students.
have to be.
I was gonna do it last summer, but then I did research and I,
Yeah, I know,
research
I had a
and-
vote with paper soccer balls off, it was like, literally like the first 5 people who responded to that email were like,
Did the X
perfect
amount
research
of-
students. We're like, "You're approved." And they all are like, oh, sorry, I'm doing research of basketball. So
To the point that like.
I got enough in the end to
Well,
get
then
full
there's
pay.
not, there's no, then it's saying.
I know Savory said that was her favorite
Like,
class.
like there was a Zoom lecture.
What?
Like it was.
Like we said, it has to be, like, there has to only be one element.
We might have been the same. I was in the ninth section.
But X is the.
Five is the minimum.
It's
Is that what
like-
that's,
I
that's
didn't
what
really
this is
see
saying?
And then like past 10, you start getting more for like an extra thing. 5 is kind of the magic number for like a good amount of pay, and you don't get,
You don't have to be Greg
You don't have-
teaching a full class of logic and rhetoric for 3 hours a day.
yeah.
Oh, wait.
I think-
This is fun, cause like, what we did was like, first like 2 hours were like group stuff, and then the last hour was like group work presentations.
I don't think I understand.
I think since we.
Maybe, yeah, come up with it, let's try to come up with a.
Basically,
one word.
to negate a statement means find a new statement that's false whenever the original
How you
statement is
said,
true
like,
whenever the
like,
original.
they're equal is a relation.
Okay, so I say that Cordyceps people already has our chain of Madeline,
And he's like, so this reminds
this
you
would
of
never
that.
be true for
And
like
so
all
like,
your
you
teachers.
look at it like.
And so that makes A or state teachers to think I say two people cannot be
There.
high speed. And then
Funniest thing of my
Let's
life.
take the
is I was
date.
Okay.
watching this music lecture, and he like directly addresses you, calling you out on something you're doing. Don't
That's so funny.
It was terrifying.
So what would the column for A implies B look like here?
That would be true, false, true.
That's what that is.
So,
Wait.
does that,
Is that for B implies A?
line, so we say that
Or not, or sorry, not B implies A, let's say not A implies B.
it's a real number,
Not A implies B.
it's an element of
That would
X,
be
and
false.
is an element of
Why?
A
Or no, sorry, be back. You'll say
and
true.
coordinate parallel
True. True.
are
Why were we?
are equal to each other. How to write this out?
Always true, not A implies B?
Not A implies B. Well, if A is false, then A is, sorry, not A is true. So that is false.
So these are vacuously true, I agree.
Vacuously true.
A, not A is, not true implies true, becomes true.
I would call him something.
Not true implies
True implies false, implies false.
Only those don't that happen.
Is this one true whenever this one's false and vice versa?
Is he just masking the whole
Dude,
time?
because then it's like the effort. Just think about it. You have to like.
Wait,
go under
is this
the
one true?
Then you have to look at the process.
That's why they don't negate each other, because in order for two statements to be negations, they need to have exact opposite
Because we just
columns.
need to know
Whole.
that X and Y need to be different elements.
Whereas if you were to do a column for
Like normally if I
A
was going
and
Because if they don't, then I think you're right.
what would this, or, blah, blah, blah.
Then I don't know.
Not A and B.
Not A and B. That would be false.
I've sent a lot of
True.
really desperate emails.
Sorry.
It's even worse when they answer.
Okay, not
A
A.
and not B. I had it right the first time, I'm sorry.
Okay, A and not B. So this is false. The first one is false.
Yep.
The next one is true. This one is true. Vacuously true.
I know, like.
You love it.
It's the same premise. And
False.
it's like,
Oh,
so
okay.
this that work.
I feel like.
X is very Y noise with false than X.
Okay.
So if something is ancient,
Wait, so
so
what
that
is
could be
imply
A.
it is not.
Yes.
These are actually exact opposites of each other.
Because like.
It
True,
is.
false, true, true, false, true, false, false.
So it'd be Madeline wins her game and so
It
does not.
That was really deep.
Your life is
insight.
inevitable.
Thank you, thank you. You can tell that I'm.
That's how we write it.
I don't know, I kind of just learned things.
All right,
No, because
if you feel like your group is done, you're welcome to leave for today.
no.
If you want to keep going, you're welcome to for another few minutes. But if you feel like leaving, have a good week.
I don't know about this.
I have a question.
I'm just.
So for that, with
We're good.
A cos A,
Can we just say the relationship? Can we just say the
No, because not every element And
equals
A,
X.
here, F would be a subset of A cross A, because every element in F is an element in A cross A. But there are some elements in A cross A that would not be in F, like Dr. R and comma Evan would be something in A cross A, these both elements in A, but not as because they don't share classes.
And then for the A cross B, would that just be two different sets that have, where some elements in A, like an element in A and an element in B are related?
Here, sure, you could definitely do that with two sets, but if you do, but in order to talk about relations, it has to be the same.
Why? Like instead of it being X less than or equal to, what if we like the relation of X?
Oh, I don't think so.
I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, you'd have to do something weird, like, Lori, you are related to Hillsdale County because you are, I don't know, you could come up with relations that would be weird, like, Lori is related to, Alaska because there's both L's in the name. But then you have, in general, when you do relations, you generally think about the elements as coming from the same set.
Okay.
So you could have the set be, like, let S be the set of all things that are either US states or students in discrete math, and then you could do a relation like that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of more and more weird creative things.
So then, like, what was the point of, like?
Giving you this definition. It's because I think it's good to have the formal definition, even if you don't really use it. I wanted to try and tie this back to something we had seen before, which is the idea of Cartesian products back in common core.
That's good. I think we really did work through.
I mean,
In practice, you don't really use that notation very much.
including but not limited to Chuck Norris
For sure.
and every interstate. Yeah, a lot of interstate, a lot of interstate.
There should be like a chart block